Wow. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. I think that's really all that can be, you know, said about this whole Battlefront 2 thing in a nutshell. Just, wow. Does anyone remember the last time a game came out like this? I can't, because I can't. I can't remember the last time a game came out with this much anger behind it. Such negative PR nightmare disastrous results. I can't. Not since the Xbox One was first announced with all its horrible DRM shit in it. And even that was a console. I'm talking about a game. I don't even think Diablo 3 and SimCity came out with this much hatred behind it. This much backlash. So, this video is overdue, and I'm glad that I held off on talking about it, you know, when it was happening, because this story was updating what felt like practically every day. Every day something new was happening with this, and I didn't want to make like 50 bajillion videos about it when I could have just waited a week, sat back, and watched everything play out, and then finally sift through the wreckage with my tools to try to find the little nuggets of information in there. And of course, even then that week was delayed because I was sick, and I'm sorry. But now, as you can clearly see, my voice is back. It's back, baby. And now we're gonna talk about the great Star Wars Battlefront 2 fiasco. Because, you know, among words like disaster, clusterfuck, train wreck, fiery inferno of shit, fiasco is what I'm gonna put for the video title, most likely. Now, this video is gonna be divided up into 3 sections, where it's gonna be, you know, a breakdown of what happened with my thoughts sprinkled in, and then secondly, the analysis on how fucked this whole thing is, and third, what the future is going to be. And with that, strap yourselves in, let's get started. So where to begin in all this mess? Well, I guess we'll have to go back to E3 2017, where this game was first unveiled, you know, extensively, where they went all and on about, you know, what the multiplayer was going to be like, what the single player was going to be like, and that little nugget of information that came, of course, after the press conference, that there would be microtransactions in this game. Because I knew, I take great pleasure in calling this out, where I said, hey, this game has microtransactions in it. You guys need to be aware that something is amiss here, because there is no way EA is going to pass up on a good thing when they could monetize the shit out of this thing. And, you know, I was met with a little bit of resistance back then from even friends that said, oh, well, you know, if it's just cosmetic only, it's not going to be that big of a deal. You know, I don't really care about it. Flash forward to a couple weeks later, the game began an early alpha phase, a closed alpha phase, where it was revealed that yes, as I predicted, Star Wars Battlefront 2's microtransactions would be tied to the star card system. But it was even worse than what I expected. I expected it to be something, you know, a mixture of cosmetic and stuff like that. I had no idea that this game seemed like it was made entirely around the microtransactions and not the other way around. The normal cases with a lot of these games is that microtransactions are kind of shoved in at the last minute. This year particularly, we've had a number of cases where microtransactions have been the focal point of the development cycle. How do we influence the microtransactions? In Battlefront 2, it seemed like every facet of this game's design was built around microtransactions, and that was incredibly worrying. Jump forward to a couple months later where we had the open beta and people got to try it. And people including myself. And we just got to see how horrible this manipulative, shitty little system was. I'm talking pay to win, where you could buy as many loot crates as you want, go into the game and decimate the fucking battlefield. You could buy all kinds of shit. You can buy a number of loot boxes. And, you know, aside from the really shit cosmetic stuff like voice lines and shitty victory poses and stuff like that, and emotes as they called it back then, which they changed it in the final game. The entire progression system was based around this. Like, you couldn't even progress in the game unless you spun the wheel and attempted to get the star cards that you really wanted. That's what it was. Back then, for 1,000 credits, you could play your hand and try to see if you could get something from these crates. But back then, you had a set number of limited crates you could get. I'm sorry, credits that you could get. And from each multiplayer match, you would get about maybe 150, 200 back then in the multiplayer matches. It was worse in the single player. You remember that trailer where they said, where John Boyega came out and said, oh, well, if you're not into multiplayer, no problem. You can do the single player offline stuff and it will not impact the game whatsoever. It'll be great. Well, even then, it tied to the microtransaction system because you would earn credits from that. But they would limit it to you. 5 times per day you could earn credits. And it was 50, an incredibly paltry amount in the beta. You guys got to remember, the cheapest star crate was 1,000 credits. You could only earn 250 credits per day from 5 rounds of the challenges that they had. And I absolutely hate that. I hate it so much when games impose this bullshit limit on the amount of credits you can earn away from the multiplayer. That to me is insidious. So, as expected, lots of negative PR came out of this. Lots of articles were written about how this game is very clearly pay to win, is that this entire game is based around chance. It's not based around skill, it's chance. Any asshole could buy a number of star crates to potentially earn the things that they want for not only troops, not only starfighters, but for heroes as well. And people were pissed. So pissed, in fact, that EA wrote a little blog post about it, saying that the epic star cards will be taken out of the loot boxes, and there will be things like you have to be a certain level in order to craft things, and all that bullshit. But as I said before, even with EA changing things, I severely doubted that it would really change all that much. It still was pay to win. Even if you took out the epic tier star cards, this was pay to win. You still had all 3 other tiers in there. And those, if you even got like the second best one, that's still a significant advantage. So they really didn't change all that much. And they were adding a new premium currency, which that was how you were going to purchase the loot boxes. You would purchase them with crystals. Good God, am I so sick of these premium fucking currencies, these crystals and these credits and all that nonsense. Just so overly complicated, all completely unnecessary. And I looked at this and I thought, I don't care what changes you make. And this can even be applied to things that I'll talk about later on, but I want to make it 100% clear right now. I don't give a flying fuck what changes are made. I don't care how much you change the game or how many tweaks you do to it, and you talk about, oh, well, the game's gonna be changed over time. Oh, we'll listen to feedback. We'll continue to tweak it. Oh. You showed me your hand. EA showed us their hand. This is what they wanted all along. This is what they dream of. They rub their dicks at night thinking about this shit. This is the future that EA wants. Not only EA, big publishers. Yep, I'm talking Sony, Microsoft, Take-Two, Activision, Ubisoft, Bandai Namco, Rockstar, all of them. All of them want this. They want this future where they can put as little effort as possible into the game and make the maximum profit. But moving on. Then we get to the juicy phase of the early access trial with EA Origins. Whoa! Pay EA money to try the game 7 days before everybody else. Holy shit, a 10-hour trial. And that backfired on them so bad that it's not even funny. Well, it is funny because, you know, laughing is better than crying. No, actually, no. Pathetic is the best word. Absolutely 100% fucking pathetic. That's how this goes. It's pathetic. So what ended up happening? Well, this is the phase where they started to let you purchase loot boxes with real money. You know, like everyone else out there. You had two currencies, credits, crystals, and you also had crafting parts that you would get sometimes from star crates. Yay. And it would be like a measly little amount. And this game also had duplicates. Yay! And you can exchange them for credits. It's like the Overwatch thing when you get a duplicate skin or whatever. But that system was still there. Doesn't matter that they removed the epic star tier things from the crates. It was still there. And it was still bad. Compare this. And I heard the prices at the time. I don't know what it is now. I'm not touching the fucking game. I'm not going anywhere near that shit. Not even to rent it. At the time, it cost about 3,000 credits, from what I understand, to purchase the lowest, the cheapest crate. And you would earn about 300 credits per match, maybe, like somewhat. And that's another big problem. They're not, the amount of credits you get in a match is not based on skill. It's based on how long the match goes. And that's absolutely ridiculous. Then, let's say 300 credits per match. Let's be generous. 350 credits per match. Costs 3,000 for the cheapest crate. Every match is about 15-20 minutes long. It would take you almost 3 hours. 3 hours to get enough credits for a star crate. Just for that alone. The cheapest one, I might add. For a chance to get the stuff that you want. These are for people that don't want to spend a dime on microtransactions. But for people that do, people that don't want to deal with the game's grindy bullshit, that option is there. Oh, it's there, up to $100 worth of crystals to earn so you can buy microtransactions. Holy shit. What a fucking disaster that turned out to be. Cut to a couple of days later. Oh, and the headlines. Oh man, they started rolling and rolling and rolling. Oh my lord. Now we get to the Reddit phase of this. So people started finding out even more shitty things about this. I think the most notorious one was that it would take 60,000 credits to unlock some of the best characters. The two most iconic characters from the original trilogy is Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader. Yes. Yes, you heard that correctly. In a Star Wars Battlefront game, you have to unlock Darth Vader. He is the most expensive character to unlock in the game. Darth Vader. Darth Vader as an unlockable character, the most expensive one in a Star Wars Battlefront game. Do you understand how ridiculous that sounds? That sounds like a parody article from The Onion. But here it is in Battlefront 2. Oh, and get this, it gets even better. Someone on Reddit did the math, and bless them for that. They came up with the answer, an estimate, to how long it would take to get that many crates. Or to get that many credits. If you did not want to spend a single penny on microtransactions, didn't want to unlock anything else, didn't want to purchase any crates, because then those take credits. The estimate was that it would take nearly 40 hours straight to unlock Darth Vader. 40 hours! And that's just Darth Vader. That's not Luke Skywalker. That would take another 40 hours to do that. Good Lord! It would take a week of a full-time job to unlock Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker, each in a Star Wars Battlefront game. Wow. Absolutely ridiculous. No, ridiculous is putting it mildly. This is insane. An insane person made this system. A bunch of insane people looked at that and went, yeah, that's acceptable. What in the hell? What kind of meth from Satan's bunghole was EA smoking when they came up with the decisions for this game? That must have been some really intense shit. Some mind-altering drugs to make them go through this. Wow. Ridiculous. And, of course, like any sane person would theorize, people were pissed. People were pissed. People raged a storm on Reddit. And I'm talking posts about this, multiple posts about it, every single day. It was a shit show. So what did EA do to quell this shit show? Well, I'm glad you asked. They decided to answer back with what is now considered the worst comment in Reddit history, the most downvoted Reddit comment in history. And this is what it said. As for cost, we selected initial values based upon data from the open beta and other adjustments made to the milestone rewards before launch. Among other things, we're looking at average player per credit earn rate on a daily basis, and we'll be making constant adjustments to ensure the players that have challenges that are compelling, rewarding, and of course attainable via gameplay. Yeah, fucking 40 hours of it. We appreciate the candid feedback and the passion, oh, the passion that the community has put forth around the current topics here on Reddit, our forums, and across numerous social media outlets. Our team will continue to make changes and monitor community feedback and update everyone as soon and as often as we can. Ooh. And as you notice, I left out the best part. Oh, you want to hear the best part of this? The intent is to provide players with a sense of pride and accomplishment for unlocking different heroes. Oh, look at that. Pride and accomplishment. Oh. Fuck right off. And I'm glad, I am ecstatic that the community was having none of that. It went on to become the most downvoted comment in Reddit history, and that line about pride and accomplishment is one of 2017's most notorious things said by a publisher. Absolutely fucking goddamn batshit insane. Just insane. Oh, but wait! Gets even better. Oh. So EA, the very next day, put out an update. They were going to lower the price of the heroes like Darth Vader and Luke. Oh, and I guess Leia and Han and all these guys were locked for some reason? Why is half the roster in this game locked? Oh, and keep in mind, you can still get stuff in the loot crates for heroes you haven't unlocked yet. Hey, that fucking useless upgrade that you got, can't get it until you pay 60,000 credits, please. So EA lowered it from 60,000 to 15,000. So now it takes about 10 hours to unlock a hero. That's still not good. That's still pretty shit. Why would people want to play a game where you have to grind to unlock Luke and Darth Vader? That sucks. That does not sound fun. Oh, but wait. So of course EA couldn't, keep it like that. They had to they had to balance it out. That feedback. You have to take your feedback into account. We gotta fuck something else on the side also. So at the same time, the credits you would earn at the end of the single player campaign went from 20,000 to 5,000. Their excuse was because you would get Iden Versio for 20,000 credits. Oh, no, it's just not a matter of completing the campaign. No. They have to add in that one extra step of them giving you the 20,000 credits to then be a mind reader and go, oh, this is what I have to do now. So if you missed out on that, tough shit. You fucked up, son. And my favorite thing that I read about this was someone from Game Informer just asked EA, like, why don't you just unlock Iden Versio? Why make them go through this extra hoop of being a fucking mind reader in order to do this extra step that EA is just kind of like, oh, here you go, you gotta do that. They don't tell you. They don't even unlock Iden Versio for you. You have to do it, fuckers. EA. Goddamn EA. But here's where it got even better. A couple days in, Storm was still raging. Absolutely going bananas over this stuff. It got even better. Now, the government. Governments are getting involved now. Because they looked at this and went, that's fucked. They don't give a shit about, past stuff that had happened. They didn't care about all the other stuff. But they care about this. Oh boy, did they care about Star Wars. They cared about Disney being attached to this. So the headlines started popping up of, new Star Wars game encourages kids to gamble. Or, new Star Wars game, avoid it. Pay to win. Horrible. So much negative stigma coming into this that, places like Hawaii, Australia, the UK, France, Belgium, all these places coming in and wanting to look at this and go, that's bad. Number of places, number of gaming commissions looking into it and investigating to see if it is gambling, which I've been saying for the last couple months. Yep, it is gambling. You're throwing your money out there in the chance of getting something that you want. That is gambling. Legally speaking, no, loot boxes in video games are not gambling now. But they should be. Oh, they should be. Because if we're gonna get there, if we're gonna get to this point where our fucking Star Wars games is gonna be infected with this shit, I want government involvement, if I'm being perfectly honest. This happened so much. The hate around this was so large that Disney, the House of Mouse, got involved. On November 17th, or November 16th, the night that the game was going to come out publicly for everyone, EA temporarily was removing the microtransactions from Battlefront 2 completely. They didn't remove the loot boxes, they just removed the ability to buy crystals, which is what you would use to buy loot boxes, And, yeah. Interesting, say the very least. But as I said on Twitter when this happened, I don't care what changes they make. I don't care what they do. You can't fully fix this. I strongly believe that they will not be able to fully fix this. I believe Battlefront 2 will continue to be, for the rest of eternity, pay-to-win experience, no matter how much EA tries to do damage control. It doesn't help, too, that it's temporary. This shit is temporary. EA said they'll be coming back at a later date. And it was later reported that people assumed that, you know, oh, well, the players pushed back and EA buckled to the players. Nah, that's not what happened. This isn't a victory, in my opinion. This is not a situation where the players won. This is a situation of Disney getting angry at EA and being upset with them, and having their head of interactive media and consumer products send EA a letter detailing, hey, cut this shit out. You're making Star Wars look bad. So, EA didn't give a shit about players. EA gave a shit that Disney got involved, and they were like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you making Star Wars look bad? Ay, ay, ay. And that's pretty much it as far as the big stuff. Yeah, you'll get occasional stories here and there of, you know, Hawaii, that nice little video of the Hawaii politicians getting involved and stuff like that. But that's kind of where we're at this point. Until the next big explosion happens, this is all we've really got so far. And wow, wowie, lot of stuff, lot of shit to go through, and it is something I have never seen before. It is something I have never seen before. This level, I've never seen anything like it. This situation to me is like watching EA drive this be the conductor of this big, heavy, out of control train, and then it just flies off the rails because they sped up way too quick, and it creates this fiery explosion inferno. And then throughout the evening you'll see mini explosions happen, and we're all just sitting there in our lawn chairs having a nice cold drink and eating some popcorn, watching the whole fireworks go off. Because that's what it felt like. It was incredible. That gif of Michael Jackson eating the popcorn from the Thriller video, that was me. All 2 weeks ago. Just sitting there at my computer, looking at this shit on my phone, watching all the videos and coverage come out for this shit, laughing my ass off. Laughing my ass off that EA got themselves into this mess. So that's what happened, folks. And to be perfectly honest, I am just astonished. I'm baffled, confused, bewildered, all that stuff. Just, how do you fuck this up? I guess if you're EA, that's just, you know, what you do. You fuck things up. But how do you fuck up Star Wars? Like, not just once, but twice now. How does that happen? How do a group of people look at this and think to themselves, let's do this, and it's the worst possible thing they could do? I don't get it. I really don't get it with EA and Star Wars. And I know there have been people that have told me, you know, why are you surprised that EA fucked this up? You know, they're EA, exploit anything, you know, that's what they do. I just figured that with Star Wars being the hot property that it is nowadays, even more than it was, you know, when LucasArts was dying out, I figured EA would just put its dick in its pants and just not want to fuck it, just not want to fuck it up. But they have. They just, I don't get it. I don't get it. To me, this is like a coach taking one of its best basketball players, putting a stepladder up to the hoop, putting the player on top of that stepladder and telling him, go ahead, dunk the ball into the hoop. We win the game. All you have to do is just move your arms in a 180-degree angle and dunk the ball into the hoop, and we win. And the player is EA. And EA has the ball in its hands, but it doesn't move its arms to put the ball in the hoop. Instead, it flings its arms back, lets go of the ball that goes flying into the air, crashes into a couple of windows, hits a bunch of people in the audience, hits itself in the head, and smacks the coach in the face. And the coach gets a bloody nose. That's how bad EA fucked this up. Twice now. Twice. Especially in this case. This was a win-win. With all the resources and all the money and all the manpower that EA has, they could have easily made this a win-win situation. But no. EA just had to be EA. All they had to do was just make a good Star Wars Battlefront game. You know, good campaign, good multiplayer, free DLC, maybe sell some cosmetic DLC on the side, a la Titanfall 2. Hey, win-win, wash your hands of it, you go home, you've earned a fuckload of money. But no. EA had massive dollar signs in its eyes, and they looked at this, and this isn't a case where they pushed this shit in at the last minute. I have to stress, every facet of this game is tied around the microtransactions. It's tied around tempting you to buy crystals, to buy loot crates. That's all this game is. Every single aspect of it. From the single player that cuts you off, and that's still in there. Fuck you, EA, that's still in there. That cuts you off at a 5-time limit per day. Come back in 14 hours, which is a complete mobile free-to-play tactic. The whole system of limiting the amount of credits you would get in a multiplayer game, so it would become frustrating. To the initial pricing of the heroes, and even now the pricing is still pretty ridiculous, that you have to pay for heroes to play, and the fucking $60, $70, $80 that you spent on the goddamn game. Everything. From the way loot boxes are designed, to be colorful and nice and fun. There's a whole psychology around it that people don't think of. In a number of cases, a lot of games are designed subtly to tempt you to buy loot crates. Overwatch does it. Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2 does it. Grand Theft Auto does it. They're all designed subtly to like inch you per there, to make it seem like it's not a bad thing. Well, this is a game that threw subtlety out the fucking window along with that basketball that I just mentioned a couple minutes ago. This is a game that is so overtly greed-driven, money-driven, that it's not even funny. It's fucking disgusting. And the fact that this game is marketed towards children that, you know, love Star Wars. This goes beyond the realm of video games. Anyone on the planet could tell you what Star Wars was. That's how big it is. And for EA to have this opportunity in its hands and then just crumple it up and throw it in the bin, that really shows what EA is like. That's EA in a nutshell. And the thing that I have to remind people is that EA is not made of robots. You know, it's easy to think that. It's funny to think that a bunch of soulless beasts run it. But people make these decisions at EA. People come to DICE and tell them what to do. You know, your Patrick Soderlunds, your Blake Jorgensens, your Andrew Wilsons of the world. These are the guys that are in control of this machine. These ideas stem from them. And if that's how they think, they have no business being in this industry. That whole situation where DICE put out that press release of them saying, you know, oh, this wasn't our intention, we didn't mean to do this, we're sorry. Well, first of all, it's not DICE saying that. I doubt it's DICE saying these words. You know, making the decision to roll this back. This is EA's decision. This is Andrew Wilson's decision. This is Blake Jorgensen's decision. This is Patrick Sorlin's decision. They're the ones behind this. And they're hiding behind DICE because they're fucking cowards. They are cowards. Same with the Reddit situation where they pushed 3 poor developers in there. It was like throwing 3 scared people into a den of angry lions. And the paymasters just hid behind them like, oh, we feel attacked. Oh, just DICE, go out there and ease the crowd. We're gonna hide in our palace. That's what EA did. That's what Andrew Wilson did. That's what Patrick Sorlin did. That's what Blake Jorgensen did. They all did. All the higher-ups just hid behind DICE. How pathetic. How cowardly. What a pussy move on EA's part. Also, that whole thing with like, you know, oh, we're sorry, this was never our intention in like big letters. No, fuck off. Fuck off. Stop lying. This was absolutely your intention. That's horseshit. The evidence is in the game. The whole game is tied around this system. There is no way that they went into this and thought to themselves, oh, well, this is just a last minute thing. Let's just try this out. No, the whole game is designed around this. This was absolutely your intention. Cut this shit. This was your intention to tempt people to go buy microtransactions, to fund your already hefty pockets. Stop lying. Stop lying to me, EA. You wanna fuck me? You wanna fuck me? Well, you lying to me too now. Fucking me is bad enough, but now you're lying to me. Now you're telling me that it wasn't your intention, that your dick fell out of your pants and ended up in my wallet. That's not your fault? Fuck off. Liars. Liars. EA are a bunch of liars. And just, these are the people that Disney wanted for this? And people praising Disney. I don't praise Disney. Disney should never have done this with EA to begin with. Never. And LucasArts, it's recently come to, or Lucasfilm, it's recently come to light that they were completely involved with the process of Battlefront 2 this whole time. So they knew about this. They must have known about this. Either they completely ignored it or they accepted it. You gotta understand, the Lucasfilm had to approve all this. They needed to see this. And Disney needed to have seen this. And they approved it. Just ridiculous. It's just... wow. Just wow. Unbelievable. And what does the future hold for EA? You know what? Actually, no. This may sound extreme. This may sound a little, you know, controversial, and I've run this opinion by a few people, and they've looked at me like, you're fucking crazy. But if EA wanted to put this shit in Star Wars Battlefront 2, this pay-to-win, loot boxy, grindy thing that they wanted, this game needed to have been free. Oh, that's right. It should have been free. This should have been a free-to-play game on the fucking App Store. Or on PlayStation Network or whatever. The App Store wouldn't be able to support the Frostbite engine like this. It should have been free. People talked about how Battlefront 2 should have been, like, you know, discounted at like $40, $50. Nope, should have been free. You should not have to pay $60 to endure a psychological battering of this magnitude. That battering that you take for playing Battlefront 2, that should have been the entry fee. That should have been your ticket to get in. That acceptance that you're going to be manipulated and tempted into buying more shit because it's free. But to pay $60, to pay $80, and then walk into this and be hounded for more money, that is highly disrespectful, distasteful, disgusting. Unbelievably fucking greedy on EA's part. Just shame on you. And I'm gonna bring this word up again. Where's the dignity in this? It's Star Wars! Star Wars, you morons! You utter morons! Do you know how much money this would have made even without this? Tons! Millions! Billions even! But no. You had to fuck it up. You had to ruin this last chance at getting something right. Because after this point, the public stigma around Star Wars games now with EA is not going to be excitement. It's going to be, oh god. And it's not just an echo chamber. It's going to be felt. These EA underestimated how badly they screwed up. Because this is going to have serious ramifications. This is going to even be bad on them in the long run. And as I've said before, these companies, these publishers, they do not look at the long term. Very few of them look at the long term. They only think of short-term gain. What can I get now? Where's my money now? They don't think about long-term brand damage. They don't think about consumer trust. They don't think about market saturation. None of that. They just think about, give me my money now. And this is going to bite them in the ass. And this is one of those situations where it just really bit them in the ass in this case. They reached for far too much, far too quickly. And I hope the public outcry does not stop with this. I hope everybody is on their guard from now on and looks at this and goes, ugh, like, I don't want any part of it. Like that Respawn game that they're doing, the Star Wars one, keep a close eye on that. Because this is what EA wants. This night, you people are lucky. Because EA is so stupid, they have given you a front row seat to what they want the future of the AAA industry to be. And the AAA industry is already bad enough. It's already really crappy. But oh man. Can you imagine every game being like what Star Wars Battlefront 2 wanted to be initially? That's a dystopia. That's a dystopian future for the AAA space. It's sad to think about. It's scary to think about that this could happen. But I hope we push back. And no, petitions and all this stuff are to have Disney give back the rights to Star Wars from EA. That's not going to change anything. These change.org petitions, they don't mean anything. What's really going to happen with EA, what they really will listen to is the money. That's all you need to do. Just don't buy it. That's all you need to do. Even if we make a dent on it, that still shows. But I have doubts. I'm going to be the cynical one because people are still going to run out and buy this. Most of the people are not going to be aware of this situation. They're going to see Star Wars on the front and they're going to go, ooh, Star Wars, yeah. And they go out and buy it. And EA nabs that $60 or $80 or $15,000 for if that same guy that bought Mass Effect 3 cards is going to play Star Wars Battlefront 2. And it just makes me sick. Not that people are going to buy it. It makes me sick that EA looked at this and thought to themselves, this is acceptable. All this is completely acceptable. Well, it's not. It's just the worst system I've ever seen for microtransactions. I've never seen anything like this. Not to this degree. And I'm glad that the pushback was there. But we need to be on guard for when these come back. Because if they come back and they're exactly like this again, EA is not going to be happy. And you can't completely change this. Because, like I said, this microtransaction system is so deeply rooted into the economy of the game. I don't know how they can change it to make it acceptable. And even if they are going to try to, like what I would consider acceptable is them just giving up the act and just releasing it as a free-to-play game. That's the only thing I would find acceptable at this stage. Because they're going to tinker with it, they're going to fuck around with the progression system, see if they can make it better, but those microtransactions are still going to be there, and knowing EA, they're still going to want people to buy them. No idiot company puts up these microtransactions and doesn't want people to buy them. That's not how that goes. They're not there for player choice. Let's talk about player choice. That's a nice line, and I don't want to ever hear from any company ever again about, oh, well, we're just giving the players options, we're giving the players choice. Well, I didn't choose to have this progression system in the game. I didn't have the option of not having Darth Vader locked behind a 60,000 credit limit. I didn't have that choice. Where are my options? Where's my choice in the development of this game? Where is it? I don't see it, EA. I don't see the player choice that you're talking about here. So there's that. Now, as far as what the future holds with EA, I think I'm going to play the negative Nelly here again and be like, look, I don't think much is going to change out of this. I think things are going to continue the way they've been going. But I think now that EA have fucked up, people are just getting tired of that. You can only kick the dog so many times before it bites. And we bit EA. And EA got hurt. But I don't think that's going to change. I think publishers are still going to look at this. I think that line from Sony's new president, PlayStation's new president, about how, oh, well, you know, we'll need to appropriately monetize, I don't think that's going to change Kodera's mind. I think he's going to try to monetize future PlayStation exclusives even more than they already have now. So look forward to that in the future. Microsoft's still going to be monetizing Halo. They're still going to be monetizing Gears with loot boxes. You can bet your ass Take-Two is still going to monetize Red Dead Redemption 2. Oh boy, are they still going to do that. Ubisoft is still going to monetize Skull and Bones and Beyond Good and Evil 2 and all their other fucking games coming out. It's not going to change anything. But there is a negative stigma around loot boxes, like after this year. And we're going to see the rise of publishers that are going to try to capitalize on this too. Capcom is ironically one of the few that have been really jumping on the loot box, you know, PR good train, where they talked about how Resident Evil 7 wouldn't have them and how Monster Hunter World isn't going to have loot boxes, which, good! I'm glad they aren't. I hope they aren't. I hope Monster Hunter World doesn't have microtransactions in it. It looks good. But nothing really is going to change in the long term, I don't think. Unless people just stop buying games altogether. Unless we just have a big crash. Which, you know, could happen. People have predicted, you know, this big apocalyptic event for the publishers where all this is just going to blow up in their face. And I think this is maybe the stone that starts the avalanche, this whole EA Battlefront 2 thing. But I think it's still going to be a number of years before we really see it come to fruition, really see the damage that's going to be done to this. And as for EA, they're still going to monetize FIFA, still going to monetize all their sports games, and this is exactly why I am so hesitant about Anthem. Because can you imagine that? Like, Activision was caught recently. Activision and Bungie were recently caught, you know, tweaking and lying to players about the XP that they would get from public events and all the stuff in Destiny 2, which I'm glad I don't play Destiny 2 anymore. But if that's been there since September and we're only finding out about it, you know, late November, what other stuff is in other games that publishers aren't telling us? They're going to try to find more subtler, sneakier ways of manipulating people. Look at the patents from Activision. You can bet your ass that's going to be implemented in the next Call of Duty. Hell, EA already did it with when you get killed in a multiplayer match, it shows you what star cards people had when they killed you. So that makes you frustrated, so that makes you want to get more loot boxes. That's exactly what the patent was for the Activision stuff. That's what it was. And here it is in Battlefront 2. But EA, man. Now the thing to wonder about is, why did this happen to EA? Why did EA get the big blowback for it compared to WB for Shadow of War or Activision for Call of Duty World War II. Well, one, EA is stupider than both those companies, and two, this is Star Wars, you know, much bigger franchise than Lord of the Rings or any of the other stuff. This thing has a phenomenon. It's a phenomenon. It has huge global appeal, and now it's owned by probably the most powerful corporation in the world. One of the most powerful. Certainly the most powerful in entertainment. Disney. They're huge. They own a fuck ton of stuff. They have muscle. Serious muscle. You don't want to fuck with Disney. And this only happened because Disney got involved. And this was Star Wars. And people, you know, outside of the gaming industry took notice. You know, the Wall Street Journal took notice. CBS took notice. All that stuff. So I think EA might be on eggshells for the next few years with Disney. I don't think Disney will take away the exclusive rights from EA, no matter what petitions are out there. They're still going to make Star Wars games. They're still going to make that, you know, that game from the ashes of Visceral's game where it's, you know, a fucking Destiny clone probably. And they already have their Destiny clone with Anthem. So we got that. So look out for Anthem. Can you imagine the monetization shit they're going to pull with that? Or were going to pull with that possibly before this happened? Oh man, I can only imagine how bad that was going to be. And it still could be really bad because, you know, it's EA and they have way more control over Anthem than with Star Wars. They don't have Disney to come in and slap them on the head and tell them what to do. They are Disney in that situation. With Anthem, that's them. They can do whatever the hell they want. And EA has clearly shown that they don't give a fuck what people think. They don't fucking care. So that's going to be the future, in my opinion. They're going to be walking on eggshells a little bit with Disney, but everything else is going to go on as normal. But people are just going to get tired of it. People are going to get sick of it. Because, like I said, companies don't think about long-term brand damage. They don't think about, like, decline in consumer interest. And that's what's happening in situations like this. It's just spots. It's just multiple small poos that pile up and create one big giant turd. That's what's happening here with Star Wars, with Anthem, with everything. All companies. They all are to blame for this. Every one of them. Except maybe Nintendo. Nintendo haven't gone that route yet, which with, you know, microtransactions in their games, which keep my eye on you, Nintendo. And Bethesda, somewhat. Mostly, actually. So, at the end of the day, the big takeaway from all this is, once again, EA threw away a lot of positive PR. They had an easy win, and they fucked it up. They royally messed up. That's all that we can really get from this situation. You know, the most important thing, that EA does not care about the happiness of its players. EA doesn't care about good gameplay experiences. EA only gives a fuck about the bottom dollar. You know, it's been known for a long time that that's the situation, but really, it's the case here. And man, oh man, is this bad. They haven't had one good headline regarding Star Wars this year. All of it's been bad. You know, Visceral closing, Star Wars game canceled, Respawn bought by them, Battlefront 2, everything that has to do with Battlefront 2, negative, terrible, horrible, exploitative, nasty. And EA is to blame. No one else is to blame. This is completely EA's fault. And EA brought this on themselves. And I couldn't be happier. So anyway, that's my take / analysis on the big Star Wars Battlefront 2 Fiasco. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you like what you see, subscribe. Let me know what you think about this whole thing. And as always, take care, everyone. Have a good day. Bye.